There's a really good chance you've heard somebody tell you that having a 401k is a really good idea. Invest in it now because when you retire, you're going to want to have that. But I'm going to give you 5 reasons why instead of having a 401k, you might want to spend some time looking at Bitcoin. Now, before I start breaking down these 5 reasons, I want to tell you that there's a little game to be played here. As I go through all 5 of these reasons, there is one thing that connects all of them. I'm going to reveal what that one thing is at the very end of this video, but see if you can pick up on what it is before I tell you. Reason number 1 is personnel risk. Judy in HR, whoever handles the setting up of your 401k, the direct deposit, could start siphoning some of that money away from you. Let's assume that that's not happening. Let's assume that you can trust Judy in HR or whoever handles that. Whoever is next on the rung, Fidelity, Raymond James, some family financial planner, they're the ones that are going to be taking that portion of money that comes to them each month, dumping it into a series of mutual funds, ETFs, stocks, whatever setup that you have. Usually all you get to say is you pick on low risk, high risk, or medium risk. And usually what people say is, hey, depending on what age bracket you're in, go with one of these different things. If you're older, you want to go with high risk because you're trying to catch up real quick. If you're younger, go with the low risk. And if you're somewhere in the middle, go with the medium risk. It's that straightforward. It's really, really basic. There's not a whole lot to it. But you have to trust that Judy is doing what she says with your money. You have to trust the financial institutions know which mutual funds to pick. But with Bitcoin, instead of a 401k, you have none of those risks. All you have to do is understand what Bitcoin is, which is a whole journey in and of itself. But once you do understand the fundamentals of Bitcoin, then you can put that portion of your money, the paycheck, that 5, 10, whatever percentage that you were sending into a 401k, and instead put it into Bitcoin. And because you're the one that's in complete control of where your money is going, then there's zero chance, not a chance at all, that Judy is putting it into her Monday Fun Day account off on the side. Point 2 is financial risk. Even if Judy is the most upstanding HR person and she's all on the up and up, and even if the financial planner, the person that is actually allocating your money to different ETFs and funds, knows exactly what they're doing, they're really skilled in this. They're paying attention to the markets. They're the best in their game. You've just lucked out and got the absolute best financial planner on the planet. None of that really matters because at the end of the day, how well your 401k is doing is based off of the results, based off of the operations of companies that you and they have no say over. Over here on IMD Research and Knowledge, we've got a recent study by McKinsey that found the average lifespan of companies listed in Standard & Poor's, the S&P 500, was 61 years in 1958. Today, it is less than 18 years. McKinsey believes that in 2027, 75% of the companies currently quoted on the S&P 500 will have disappeared. 75%. Which ones of the S&P 500 are going to go? Do you know? I certainly don't. I have no idea. Does a financial planner have any idea? Does he know for certain? Does she? Who knows? Nobody knows. It's a guessing game. And yes, you can educate your guesses as best as possible, but still, there's no way to know for sure which ones are going to be the winners and losers. Let's say that 75% is extremely liberal. And let's cut that down all the way to 25%. Which 25% of those companies are going to be gone? Which are the 75 that are still sticking around? We know that businesses fail. We also know that fiat currencies fail. Without exception, every single fiat currency throughout the entirety of history has failed. Bitcoin doesn't care about the operations of your company. It doesn't care about politicians trying to debase it or change it. You don't have to trust that your financial planner is picking winners for your 401k. All you have to do is take a portion of your paycheck, put it into Bitcoin, and chill. Which brings me to the next point. Point number 3 is this. A 401k is meant to be sat on. You put some portion of your paycheck into this mystery bucket and hope that in 10, 25, 50 years that what you put in is worth more when you need it now that you're retired and your body no longer does the things that you need it to do to earn an income. Bitcoin is no different on one of these points. On the point that you buy it, you hodl, and you sleep soundly. You're not sitting there worrying about what you do with it. You're not sitting there and going, oh, I have to move it around. You just buy it and you sit. That's all you do with Bitcoin. That is typically all you do with a 401k as well. But one of those has all the risk that I outlined before. You're trusting that Judy is doing what she says with your money. You're trusting that the companies that are being invested in are doing what they're supposed to do so that the value of your money goes up. It's kind of this casino that you're hoping the winners are picked, but you don't know, whereas Bitcoin has none of those risks. This is the chart that most people like to look at when they're talking about Bitcoin. They go, oh, look, back in November 20th of 2015, the price of Bitcoin was $327. And then, oh my goodness, back back on November 12th, 2021, it went all the way up to $64,000. This is not the chart that matters. This is noise. You want the signal? Here's the signal. This is the US dollar compared against a Bitcoin. One US dollar has gone down and down and down. Okay, gain a little value here. Down and down and down and down and down. And then a little more here. And then down and down and down. I wish I could drag this chart even further, but this is the max. For whatever reason, this is as far back as it goes. And look how much it is absolutely nosedived. Mayday, mayday, SOS. The USD is going to zero. Zero, folks. That's right, zero. I'm sorry. Did you say zero? That's right, folks. Zero. A $1 bill, a $20 bill, a $100 bill won't even be worth the size of paper that it is printed on, because at least a blank piece of paper you could use for taking notes, and a dollar bill, a $100 bill already has a bunch of nonsense on it. It isn't even going to be good for note paper, people. Okay, moving on to point 4, we're going to talk about the political risk. So let's assume that Judy is a really good person, and let's assume that the financial planner that is handling your money and investing it into these different companies is a really good person as well. And they're making really good picks. They know what they're doing. They're extremely educated. This is what they do. They care about you. What about the politicians? Because what happens when the next governor or president decides that your 401k needs to be frozen? Did you know that the Roth IRA was introduced as part of the Taxpayer Relief Act of 1997 and is named for Senator William Roth? 1997 isn't all that long ago, and being named after a politician isn't a real good look for things that have to do with your money. What if the next person, Bob Bohangus, comes in and says, oh, actually, that whole Roth thing, we're going to undo that, and we're going to do a new thing. It's called the Bohangus Act of 2025, and that says that anybody that has money in a 401k now owes the government 13% of that, because 13 is a special number to me, and my name is Bob Bohangus, and a bunch of people go, yeah, that's great. And if you don't think that could happen, have you been paying attention to some of the things that politicians have been doing recently? Have you seen the kind of legislation that they're trying to pass? Have you seen the things that they want happening? They want shoplifting to just be a thing that's accepted in California. Why is shoplifting so rampant? Because state law holds that stealing merchandise worth $950 or less is just a misdemeanor, which means that law enforcement probably won't bother to investigate. And if they do, prosecutors will let it go. So before you say, hey, whoa, a politician would never stop me from getting my money out of my 401k. Oh, really? Bitcoin, on the other hand, does not care what the politicians do. It could not possibly care any less that politicians are even a thing. And now on to point number 5. I said I was going to touch on that bit about your 401k is locked up. It's meant to be sat on, just like Bitcoin is meant to be sat on. But here is an incredible thing about Bitcoin that a 401k does not have. A 401k is locked up. You can get it. Yes, you can, but it takes time, a lot of time. If I need to use my Bitcoin, I can use it. I don't have to ask permission of this financial planner. I don't have to get these papers signed. I don't have to do a bunch of hoop jumping. I just use it because that's what I need to do. And I'm the one in control. Me, and only me. So to recap, point 1 is personnel risk. We've got to trust that the people are doing what they say they're doing with it. Point 2 is the financial risk. Even if they are doing what they say they're doing with it, we've got to trust that they're making the right picks. Point 3 is that a 401k and Bitcoin, both of them, are meant to be sat on. The benefit that Bitcoin has is that you can get it and use it if you want to, and you don't have to hope that it's going to go up. You know that everything else is going down in relation to Bitcoin. Point 4 is the political risk. Do politicians have your best interests at heart? You be the judge of that one. And then point 5 is that even though a 401k is locked up, you can get it out, but at great expense, time and monetary. Whereas with Bitcoin, you can get it out anytime you want if need be. At the outset of this, I said that all 5 of these points had some commonality. Did you figure out what it is? The one commonality with all 5 of these points is trust. With Bitcoin, you don't have to trust anyone but yourself. Whereas with a 401k, there are a lot of people that you have to trust, and you have to trust that they all have your best interests at heart. Do the CEOs of these companies that you've never even gone to have your best interests at heart? Does Judy have your best interest at heart? Does the financial planner that's moving your money around have your best interest at heart? You probably haven't even met half of those people, so how could they? Whereas with Bitcoin, it's you and you alone. So think about this. And the next time somebody says, hey, you should really get a 401k, turn around and say, hey, maybe you should get some Bitcoin.